ring. I feel like it'll be a little entertaining. I don't know how long he's gonna last in with these big shots coming at him, but hey, only time will tell. You know, I'm not here to hype that shit. It's not even my business. That's somebody else fish to fry.
Yeah.
You know, I got my own fish to fry.
Terence Crawford is not going to do anything with Canelo Alvarez. Terence Crawford, yes, he's good. He's a 4-division world champion, 2-division undisputed, but he could have even hurt Madrimov.
Is that they think that Canelo is easy work because of the fact that he's flat-footed and he just kind of like, he does basic, I would say. He has basic skills, but he's really good at those basic fundamental skills.
Jermall Charlo breaks down why he believes Canelo Alvarez will defeat Terence Crawford. He emphasizes that the key factor is how long Crawford can endure the heavy shots Canelo will unleash. Charlo highlights that Crawford is already moving up in weight to take this fight, which makes the challenge even steeper. In his view, the bout ultimately depends on how well Crawford can handle Canelo's relentless power and pressure over the course of the fight. Analysts also note that Crawford struggled to seriously hurt Israel Madrimov, a fighter far from Canelo's level. While Crawford delivered an impressive performance against Errol Spence, this is an entirely different challenge. Canelo is not only a legendary fighter but also younger and more active in recent years, making him a far tougher opponent for Bud.
They never got in the ring with anything like this Terence Crawford. They never got in the ring with a former champion with a heat fight. He couldn't hurt. He couldn't hurt Madrimov. Canelo Alvarez is no Earl Spence, ladies and gentlemen. I know that some y'all are hyped because what Terence Crawford did an incredible performance, an incredible job versus Earl Spence that was supposed to be big fish, drum big fish, tuna fish on your outline, on your local supermarket. Canelo Alvarez is not a mean car. Canelo Alvarez is not Cobra. Canelo Alvarez is not Gamboa. Canelo Alvarez is not Fiat. Canelo Alvarez is not Sean Porter. Canelo Alvarez is none of those guys, ladies and gentlemen. Canelo Alvarez is none of those guys. Canelo Alvarez is not the mean machine. Canelo Alvarez is regarded as one of the greatest. Not just the Mexican race. I don't like how y'all like to try to put it. Oh no, he's the best Mexican, just because you don't want to say that he's one of the greatest ever. Canelo Alvarez is one of the greatest ever. Carries the sport of boxing on his shoulder. And let me say like this, leading up to the fight, Canelo Alvarez is more active than Canelo Alvarez is more seasoned than Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is more seasoned than Terence Crawford. He's younger than Terence Crawford. He's more active than Terence Crawford. His resume is thoroughly Terence Crawford. He's fought Terence Crawford. He fought every day child. He fought the best Russian at the time with Kovalev. He fought the best Asian in Kazakhstan and Virginia.
Kell Brook explains why he favors Canelo Alvarez in a potential clash with Terence Crawford, stressing that Canelo is a completely different kind of fighter than anyone Crawford has ever faced. Brook acknowledges that Crawford's dominant win over Errol Spence was impressive but argues it doesn't prepare him for the unique challenges Canelo presents. With his strength, experience, and proven ability to control fights at higher weight classes, Canelo stands on another level. According to Brook, Crawford has yet to encounter an opponent with Canelo's combination of power, skill set, and ring IQ, making this one of the toughest tests of Crawford's career.
Towards Canelo. Crawford's gonna have to, move up. I knew when I bought Golovkin. There's a big difference. Especially with someone that, fighting the middleweight, mediocre world champion. Okay. But when you're fighting someone like, Canelo or Golovkin, different kettle of fish, I have to lean towards Canelo, but, Crawford's very, very, very good.
You think Crawford's still got the legs? Obviously, he's very much got great IQ in the ring, but he's very much a good mover as well. Do you feel like he's still got the legs to be maybe out moving Canelo if he needs to?
Well, I don't know. I think when we look back at Mayweather when he beat Canelo, he's a mover. Crawford's not really like Mayweather in that aspect. It's like he's more, he kind of sets his feet and he's cute with how he approaches chucking shots over. I think it's a different fight to Mayweather. Canelo's obviously a different fighter from when he fought Canelo.
Analysts emphasize that Terence Crawford may simply be too small to truly hurt Canelo Alvarez, given that he's jumping up nearly 3 weight classes with limited experience at 154 pounds. They draw comparisons to Floyd Mayweather, who faced multiple elite opponents before meeting Canelo, whereas Crawford's only test at that level has been Israel Madrimov. Gabe Rosado further explains that when fighters are accustomed to opponents with real power at higher weights, shots from smaller divisions often don't have the same impact. This raises serious questions about how Crawford will cope with Canelo's size, strength, and durability.
I think that Crawford may be too small to really impact and hurt Canelo Alvarez. He's moving up pretty much 3 weight classes, which is exactly what I said. I'm not counting 154. He had 1 fight, bro. He had 1 fight. Floyd Mayweather got more fights at 54 than Terence Crawford. Boop. Because Crawford, he fought Madrimov. Floyd fought De La Hoya, Cotto, and then he fought Canelo at 152. So you had an aging Floyd who fought more times at the higher weight class, and Bud looks to be a bigger dude than Floyd Mayweather, right? So when Floyd was 37, he moved to 52 and fought a much bigger Canelo. Crawford's 37, he fighting Madrimov with 11 fights. Not the same. It's not. I don't care what y'all talking about. The Bud Buddy's just gonna have to be mad at me because truth is truth. So that's a valid question. And again, I'll be glad when this fight's over. Put it that way. I don't care who wins. May the best man win. I hope it's a double knockout. I already told y'all. Just because I'm just over it, and I want to get back to some of the other fights. There's other fights that are interesting, and they make more sense. Like Brian Norman, Devin Haney. I'm interested in Yard versus Benavidez, etc. There's some fights we're hearing about, blah, blah, blah. So I'll be glad when this is over, to be 100% honest. There's more fights that actually fans have been requesting that matter, blah, blah, blah. But Rosado, he brought up a lot of good points. He was saying Crawford, he thinks he's too small. And he even gave his own personal experience. He said, I'm like 180, 190 solid. And when I fight guys that are welterweights, even if they crack and they're known for being like menacing, murderous punchers at the lower weight classes, 140, 147, them moving up, it feels like pillows when they fight me. When I get hit with their punches, it feels like pillows because I'm used to getting hit by triple. Right? He used to Triple G work. He used to Lemieux work. So to me, this is kind of common sense, but common sense, right?
Analysts continue to stress one of the most crucial factors in a potential showdown between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, whether Crawford can withstand Canelo's power. The question isn't simply about skill, but about durability, absorbing the kind of shots that have stopped or worn down so many of Canelo's past opponents. While some critics argue that Canelo looks flat-footed, experts caution that this is misleading. His approach is calculated, built on balance, timing, and efficiency. By planting his feet and relying on fundamentals, Canelo ensures that every punch carries maximum force. For Crawford, the challenge will be navigating that pressure. His defensive skills and movement could allow him to avoid damage for long stretches, but Canelo's patience often guarantees he finds openings. When that moment comes, the real test will be whether Crawford can remain composed under heavy fire. Many analysts agree, this fight may not come down to who lands more punches, but whether Crawford's chin and body can survive the punishment that Canelo inevitably delivers.
Crawford is going to be able to take Canelo's punches. And is Canelo going to be skilled enough to not keep on getting banged up by Crawford and his craftiness? It's like, the battle of two greats, you know what I mean? So I believe Canelo, you really see him, when you see him fight, he almost like got a one-way of style, and it worked for him. He likes to get in there, bang you up. He likes to throw hard punches. He likes to break you down. He likes to hit you everywhere. You're gonna hit in your body, your arms, the forehead, the ear, the neck. Wherever he can land a good one, he's gonna land it. And that usually breaks him down. So with some fighters, I see is they think Canelo is easy work because of the fact that he's flat-footed and he just kind of like, he does basic, I would say. He has basic skills, but he's really good at those basic fundamental skills. He does everything almost like perfect. But yeah, he's flat-footed, but you got to realize that he also has a hell of a head movement and body movement. He understands and he knows he's perfected at rolling the punch thing.
The night Terence Crawford dismantled Errol Spence is remembered as one of the most dominant performances in modern boxing history. Crawford displayed every weapon in his arsenal: speed, timing, accuracy, defense, and finishing ability, systematically breaking down a fighter once regarded as one of the best welterweights in the world and making it look effortless. For many, that night cemented Crawford's place among the greatest fighters of his generation. Now, his training partners insist he looks even sharper. They report that his speed remains electric, his reflexes are still razor-sharp, and his conditioning is at its peak. Despite being older, Crawford appears to have refined his style, sharpened his focus, and elevated his preparation. Those close to his camp believe he is entering the best form of his career, and that confidence could be the very edge he needs when stepping into the ring against a dangerous and seasoned opponent like Canelo Alvarez.
Sharper than ever, more dangerous than ever, and most importantly, he looks like the greatest version of himself. Now, can we actually believe this? Can Terence Crawford is nearly 39 years old, with him being inactive, with him being heavier than ever? Possible that the man will actually look better than ever? Now, let's think about it, ladies and gentlemen. When you're talking about someone like Terence Crawford or Canelo Alvarez, you're talking about the elite of the elite. And I'm gonna be honest, Terence Crawford, when he fought Errol Spence, in my opinion, in all my years of watching combat sports, I'm a MMA guy turned to boxing. But I have never, ever in my life watched an elite championship fight and had my jaw absolutely drop to the floor with the greatness that I witnessed. That is the only way to describe what Terence Crawford did versus Errol Spence. In my opinion, that was the greatest performance in our lifetime. I mean, you can't go back to the old days. I'm not a historian. But as far as I'm concerned, that was the greatest performance I have ever seen in my life. And especially to who he did it to, Errol Spence. Dangerous southpaw. At the time, I believe he was pound for pound number 3. And Terence Crawford absolutely annihilated him.
Former middleweight champion Kelly Pavlik has offered strategic insight into how Terence Crawford could defeat Canelo Alvarez. His advice focuses heavily on the early rounds. According to Pavlik, Crawford cannot afford to let Canelo dictate the pace. Instead, he must rely on his footwork, sharp combinations, and ring IQ to force Canelo into working harder than usual. The strategy is straightforward. If Crawford can make Canelo throw more punches, move his feet, and chase the fight, he can begin draining the Mexican champion's energy. Pavlik points out that Canelo has shown signs of fatigue in the later rounds of grueling battles. That, he believes, is where Crawford's chance lies. By applying steady pressure early and controlling the tempo, Crawford could limit Canelo's explosive power in the championship rounds, giving himself a real opportunity to outpoint him or even score a late stoppage.